thank you very much. Very happy to be with all of you guys. So today we welcome on the stage Clara Chappaz. You are the former Minister Delegate for Artificial Intelligence and Digital Technologies. And we are also very happy to welcome you, Mahdi Aladel. You are the Chief Executive Officer of Aramco Venture. And I propose to start with you, Mahdi. We want to know more about Aramco Venture. We want to know more about what it is and the reason why you are with us for Adopt AI.
OK. C'est un plaisir d'être avec vous aujourd'hui, mais je vais parler en anglais parce que c'est plus facile pour moi. Donc, my name is Mahdi, and I'm going to use 3 slides to introduce Aramco Ventures, if you don't mind. So, OK.
Here.
So, Aramco Ventures is the venture arm of Aramco, and maybe some of you have seen the Aramco booth. We invest in startups globally, and we do that through early-stage venturing programs and growth programs. We look for innovative tech and technology around the world. And we do that through our team. So we have global teams around the world. Because the conference today is about AI, I just show you that when it comes to investing in AI, we invest in the entirety of the AI stack. From the chips, the models, the application layers. Some of it is in the medtech field, some of it is in energy. But as long as there is fundamental AI driving some of these solutions, we invest. So this is who Aramco Venture is. And to kind of answer your question as to why we're in Paris today, well, as we've landscaped the ecosystem globally, we have teams in Palo Alto, Beijing, Shanghai, and different cities in the world. And we saw over the last year and a half a lot of the innovation, the commitment that France has made in AI, the 109 billion that was announced earlier this year, and the French academic institutions that have a lot of scientific rigor behind them. So he said, you know what? The next office for us needs to be Paris. We need to tap the French and European ecosystem from France. And the chairman of our board this morning, Mr. Khoueter, announced that we are officially opening an office in Paris. So that's one of the reasons. So we're happy to open that office. And we've just launched with a French startup in Saudi yesterday, the first quantum computing device for industrial AI application with a company called Pascal, which is a quantum computing company out of the outskirts of Paris.
Thank you very much, Mahdi. And I have a question for you, Clara. What made such a commitment possible?
We have to ask you. No, very pleased to be sharing the stage and congratulations on all those amazing announcements. I think the one thing missing in your presentation was on the slide that you were showing. There's not enough French logos, but I'm sure we're here to solve that. So what made that possible? I mean, this has been one of the things that probably hasn't changed over the course of now close to 8 years is the commitment to make France not only famous for cheese, wine, and baguettes, and maybe luxury bags as well. We do that well, but also for innovation. And this has been not only a vision, but some things that we've constantly pushed for with President Emmanuel Macron to share how much of we can make this country attractive for investors like you, innovators that you've mentioned, and all of them are in this room, and make sure that we constantly deliver what you're looking for. Why is it important? Because we're here in Adopt AI. I mean, there's not a single square meter where we're not seeing amazing innovators who are just simply transforming everything we touch. From knowledge sharing to science, I was with some health tech startups just now, to defense, AI is everywhere. And for a country like us, because we've consistently invested in research, talents, what you've mentioned, I'm glad to hear it from you, because we have also one of the key ingredients of success, which is nuclear energy, because all of those companies need energy, and guess what? We have so much that last year we exported the equivalent of the entire Belgium country consumption. So we have a lot where we can be useful to build factories, and also because of the amazing ecosystems that has been, favored here and that we are seeing here everywhere, I think we are uniquely positioned to be one of the battlegrounds for AI. And that's what we've been pushing for during the AI Action Summit just a few months ago in this very building, and what you're helping us to do now with Adopt AI, showing that France is in the game, and with all the pro-business policies that we've been pushing for, all the pro-investors policies we've been pushing for, we are very determined to stay in the game. And when we're looking that we are attracting players like you, I think this strategy is paying off, and we are very, very happy to welcome you.
Thank you. And something also new for us is that you were the first Minister of AI, right?
It's true. It was a bit more than a year ago when President Macron and Michel Barnier was a Prime Minister decided to create this ministry. It was the very first time that France got an AI ministry. It was actually one of the very first one globally, and was, I think, a true sign on how committed we were to this technology, because there's a lot of good things with this technology, but the reason for having a ministry is not only to build all the bricks to make it as attractive as possible for France to be a powerhouse with AI, but also to answer some of the challenges that this technology is bringing. I mean, we're all here. If we're here, we're interested into this technology. We're probably quite knowledgeable already. You're probably very knowledgeable if you're investing in the field. But truth is, not everyone is equipped the same way when it comes to addressing AI. And so the role of having a ministry is not only to say, okay, let's make it as strong as possible for France to be in the race, but also how, as a country, do you think through education, do you think through the topics around knowledge and knowledge sharing, the topics around defense, like all those topics are so critical for a country and nation that you basically need to spend a lot of time addressing those challenges and positioning the country in a way that we can uniquely answer to those needs.
So Mahdi, how do you position France in the AI world map? Because we need to understand also what is your plan.
Yeah, so I mean, building on kind of a little bit what I've said about the ecosystem. So for us, if you think of AI, and really that's the reason we're putting a team, we are looking to invest in AI, cybersecurity, and quantum in France, and within the rest of the European ecosystem, but from here. And so why did we get comfortable that France is the right next move for us? Well, we've toured the ecosystem. We've looked at Saclay, we've looked at Station F, we've looked at some of the unicorns like Hugging Face that came out of Station F, Mistral, and some of the other champions that came out of the ecosystem. We know that behind AI is a strong scientific background rooted in physics, math, and France has one of the highest field medal awards globally, I think second to the United States. Perhaps per capita it's the highest. So all of these provide for a very strong ecosystem that for sure will result in startups and innovation that should be interesting to us to invest in. We're a heavy investor in AI in the US and in China, and it's, and I showed some of the logos. What got us comfortable is, again, what I've said. There is the ingredients here, and I think with some of the more recent policies, the drive, the funding that the French government has committed to provide, it's the right time for venture capitalists to be in this ecosystem.
So you're looking for investment, of course, but also for talents.
Absolutely.
Engineers, I think.
Absolutely. And for us, the way we utilize these startups, it's not only the IRR on the investment, it's also helping them work with the mother company, Aramco, on solving some of the more pressing challenges globally, whether it's in energy, sustainability, whether it's how we cool and manage our data centers, because we run our own data centers, or how we manage to keep the Aramco system safe from cybersecurity attacks, and many, many other frontiers where technology and AI is going to be crucial.
And maybe because of the whole geopolitical context we're living in, I think one of the strengths investing in France and Europe in general is also just building alternatives. Because, and I'm sure as a player you can probably add to that. But we're basically in a world where there's a lot being built in China, there's a lot being built in the US, but there's a ton of companies, countries. As a minister, I spent some time in Singapore, I spent some time in the Middle East, I spent some time in so many countries in the world where just having the option to go China or US is not enough because that locks the country in a way that they are just building vulnerabilities because of the dependencies they are having to those technologies. We as a country, obviously like so many European countries, we are already so dependent on US technologies. When it comes to cloud, for example, the European market is spending 330 billion euros every year on US cloud players, which is 330 billion euros we are not investing in our own economy and our own companies. So when it comes to AI, we don't have a choice. Either we do what we've done before, and we've lived through that, and the result of that is you basically have a phone which probably none of you here has a European phone. You are navigating the internet from probably not a European system either. And if you use Google Maps to come to this place, you probably also use Google Maps and not a European app. And having options, building those alternatives in a world where everything is so unstable is not only a question of building strengths for your country, but as companies, just decreasing the risks that you're going to get yourself tied to some part of the technologies. And here is a huge business opportunities for Europe and especially for France.
Yeah, no, and I think the other thing people, because we invest around the world, the valuation in AI for the same sort of startups companies is much higher in the US than what you can get into in France and the European ecosystem.
Don't say that to funders.
So you get more for your money, to be honest. And then, because we're interested in the tech, for us it's about also deploying that tech in the mother company in Aramco. So why pay 3x for the same solution if you can get it, at a more affordable price?
So maybe my last question is related to that. If we position ourselves from a French perspective, where do you position France? Where do you think France should position its effort, or our remaining effort?
Yeah, I mean here we are in Adopt AI.
Here? Here, all right.
The Adopt AI conference has it all in the name. When I was the Minister for AI, one of the things I focused on was adoption, because we can talk a lot about AI, we can share a lot about how this technology is going to transform our world, but truth is if we don't use it, we're not going to get any of the benefits, being productivity or just simply like better tools, better use of our time. And this is a big challenge. It's a challenge everywhere in the world. It's not a French challenge. But it's true that in France we're lagging a bit behind. So the biggest challenge ahead is not even building tools. I think we're quite good at that. But is to actually use them. And use them in a way that we are not going to reproduce the mistakes we've done in the past and just use foreign tools, but also supporting our own companies, using our own tools. Because you can do all the investment you want in startups and businesses, but at the end of the day, if you're not going to be a client of all the amazing startups that are around this building, this is not a true industrial, policies. You need to be aligned in building, but also using the technologies we are so lucky to have being built here.
I think that's why we have that amount of CEOs at Adopt AI.
And I have a good anecdote about that. It was a few weeks ago, some of the big tech guys from all around the world were in Paris, and we were discussing what we should do next for France. And if I remember right, I think it was Reid Hoffman who said, you should have a conference where you basically split people industry per industry, because all the use cases are quite similar within an industry, and kind of showcase what you can do when you're in the automotive industry, or if you're in the retail industry, or if you're in the defense industry. And I was like, guess what? We're having this conference. And the funny anecdote is I said, we're having it in November, what's the date today?
26.
November 26th, I said. And then President Macron looked at me and was like, that's so far away. I was like, really? It's in 1 month? And we thought we were talking 2026. So it's a long anecdote to say this is now Because every month that goes by where we are not, looking and implementing this technology at speed, we are basically losing time to get all the benefits from it.
And we will be there next year and the year after with new evolutions. So Mahdi, you started talking about these potential multiples, X valuations about the startups. Now, we've seen on the social medias a lot of things about bubbles, AI bubbles. So my question is really for both of you. What's your vision? Do you really think that we have an AI bubble?
Look, I think there is...
It's a pretty naive question.
No, I mean...
He's an investor, what can you say?
I don't want to get in trouble, but trying to forecast...
Or maybe don't you fear about an AI bubble?
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely hype in AI, because I think the word gets used loosely. Fundamentally, AI is algorithms. Now, generative AI has definitely been a step change in the capabilities of that we have and the tools that we have. Is there a hype? Is there a bubble? There's definitely a lot of euphoria. If I use the analogy of the .com era, there was a lot of hype and euphoria back then. People built a lot of connectivity and hardware and the fiber optics, and then you had a correction or you had a burst. But I think for us, the view is long term, even if you get a correction, the trend is upwards. The world is, this is real. This is not, the flavor of the month or the year, unlike some of the other technologies. If you get a correction, it will hurt, no doubt. So that's why when we're looking at startups, we're questioning, and we take when we do our scenario analysis, we shave off a good chunk of the revenue projections that many of the CEOs provide, and we say, is this a fundamental, strong technology that even if we get a correction, will still continue to be needed? And if the answer is yes, we invest.
Yeah, I think to me the biggest risk, it's not the AI bubble, it's to fall into this trap that we often have as Europeans, as French people, being like, oh, everyone's talking about a bubble, then we kind of like scratch our heads and we're like, let's figure that out. And by the time we try and figure it out, the whole world is already, building AI. And bubble or not, there will be winners, big winners. And so the call I have is for not maybe thinking too much, but continue building and continue, being in the race, because those winners, we definitely need them to be Europeans, at least for some of them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you have to take a longer view on AI. Still do your work though, because so that you don't get caught with the wrong investments. But I think the trend is upwards. In Aramco, in the kingdom, we've just announced a major national champion called Humane, building the entirety of the data stack. And so that's creating a lot of excitement, because they're also trying to work with the global AI ecosystem, including what we see in Europe and France. So the more the better, because the world needs these technologies. And so we're very happy to see what's happening here.
Thank you very much to both of you for this excellent interview. We can applaud themselves. All right, thank you very much, Clara. Thank you very much, Mahdi, for this moment with you.